Today's lesson is Dua Lipa, the big sister of pop. Hi, everybody. I'm Roger.
And I'm Mike.
And today we're going to continue talking about Dua Lipa. She is a modern pop star. And, of course, she has given concerts here in Taiwan. You may have seen her in concert, or you may have seen her videos on YouTube or heard her songs play on the radio. Either way, Dua Lipa is a big star, but she wasn't always a big star. She kind of had humble beginnings, didn't she?
That's right. Born in London, but to refugee parents from Kosovo, escaping the conflict there in the 90s. She eventually returned to Kosovo, but then decided at 15 that she wants to move back to London to become a pop star and to go to a theater school, to performance art school. Her parents said yes, and so she was there in London at the Sylvia Young School, I believe, for performance arts, and it was also there that she started to post some videos of herself singing and performing on YouTube, and eventually she got attention, eventually she got a record contract, and she had a big hit back in 2017, I should say, and she hasn't looked back since then. So let's find out more about Dua Lipa, some of her more recent hits, some of the things that she's been doing, and why she's a big sister to a lot of different people, both in the entertainment industry and among her wider fan base.
A big reason fans connect with Dua Lipa is her honesty and what she calls her big sister energy. Striving to be as much of an open book as possible, she writes authentic songs like We're Good and Homesick that openly address the struggles everyone experiences. As a result, listening to her music can feel like getting thoughtful advice from a wise older sister.
大家好，第一部分介绍动词 strive， 它的意思是努力或是奋斗。例如 The athlete has been striving hard to break the world record. 这名运动员一直非常努力想要打破世界纪录。或者 Claire strives to be the best student in her class.Claire 努力成为班上最好的学生。继续看到形容词 authentic， 表示真诚的或是真实的。例如 The author's poems are known for their authentic voice and unique style. 该作者的诗以其真诚的声音和独特的风格而闻名。或是 This collector owns several authentic Roman coins. 这位收藏家拥有数枚货真价实的罗马硬币。
Okay, it's time for us to discuss the first part of our lesson for today. A big reason fans connect with Dua Lipa is her honesty and what she calls her big sister energy. So there we're going back to the title of our article about being a big sister. That's somebody you follow. Of course, if you have an older sister, a big sister, then they can be a role model to you. Usually to younger sisters, but I suppose if you're a younger brother, you can look up to your older sister as well. But fans do connect with Dua Lipa because of her honesty. She's straightforward. She doesn't lie. She's not pretentious. And she also is popular because of her big sister energy. So people kind of look up to her, especially if you're a young girl trying to figure out what to do with your life or something like that. Hey, you can have her as a role model and she'll help you kind of work through your problems.
Oh, that's very nice. So the big sister energy is all about striving to be as much of an open book as possible. She writes authentic songs like We're Good and Homesick that openly address the struggles everyone experiences. So this is kind of how she puts that big sister energy into play, especially with the actual songs that she chooses and performs. So she's striving. If you're striving to do something or to be something, you're working really hard to do it, right? You know there's a difficulty level to it. You know there are challenges to it, but you're going to continue working at it. If you're working through a difficult period in your life or trying to achieve a goal that's not easy, striving is a good word to do that. I'm striving to get a better grade in math this year than I did last because I really don't like math and I'm not super good at it, but I'm working really hard at it. So, you know, it's a bit of a struggle. There's challenges and some setbacks, but you also have this feeling of determination that I'm going to get through it no matter how hard it is. I'm not going to quit and I will be successful at the end of the day. So she works hard to be as much of an open book as possible, to not sort of live a fake life life and put up sort of a fake public perception, kind of show that her life is perfect and everything is always great with her and that kind of thing. No, she tries to be an open book. Another way of saying this is she tries to be real. She tries to be someone who people can connect with, relatable. That's another popular word, by posting, about her good days and her bad days. If she gets a pimple or something like that, she might post about it and not try to show how perfect her life is at all times. And another part of that is writing authentic songs, real songs about real human struggles. She won't be writing a song complaining about how tough it is being rich and famous or something like that, but she will write songs about how she makes mistakes, how bad things happen in her life, how good things happen, how lucky she is, things like that. So authentic. When something is authentic, it's emotionally real, right? It doesn't seem to be pretend or pretentious. You're not acting in a way that isn't really who you are. You are being who you are. You are an open book, in other words. And they openly address the struggles everyone experiences. Songs like We're Good and Homesick might be interesting to not only listen to the songs, but look up the lyrics and read through them. And I'm sure they will talk about things that everyone can relate to, whether they're a famous pop star or just a normal person living their normal life here in Taiwan.
Yep, we're good. Okay, other people may seem better than us, but you need to remember that you're still valuable, so that's probably the message of this song. And yes, indeed, people do get homesick. You don't need to feel ashamed of that. Remember, she left her parents behind when she went to London when she was 15 years old, so she probably knows what being homesick is all about. So again, everybody can relate to these songs. And as a result of this, listening to her music can feel like getting thoughtful advice from a wise older sister. So yes, if you're young and you listen to her songs, maybe her message can help you get through some tough times in your life. You're going to get thoughtful advice. If something's thoughtful, it is sincere. It's from the heart. You're not pretending at all, because she has experienced these things. And so she's singing to you. She's sending the message straight to you, and you can feel like you've been helped, just like you would feel you were helped by your older sister. They kind of have that position in your life. There's somebody you look up to and somebody you respect, and you kind of model yourself after them.
All right, let's move on to the next part of the article and find out more about how Dua Lipa uses her platform for the betterment of all.
Lipa has also used her platform to promote female empowerment in the music industry and beyond. She has spoken out about the challenges women face in the industry, noting that, for a female artist, it takes a lot more to be taken seriously. During her acceptance speech at the 2018 Brit Awards, she took the occasion to honor the women who preceded her and inspired her to dream this big.
第二部分看到片语 speak out， 它的意思是公开发声或是直言不讳。例如 The activists spoke out on environmental issues. 那名运动人士针对环境议题发表看法。也可以说 People are speaking out against the spread of fake news on social media. 人们公开反对在社群媒体散播假新闻。接着介绍名词 acceptance， 表示接受，也可以是认可或是接纳的意思。可以说 Evelyn practiced her acceptance speech in front of the mirror. Evelyn 在镜子前练习得奖感言。又或者说Social acceptance is important for teenagers as they grow up. 社会认同对青少年的成长过程很重要。下一个看到动词 precede， 它的意思是时间、顺序等处在点点点之前或是先于。例如 The storm was preceded by a period of eerie calm. 暴风雨来袭之前有一段异常平静的时间。再看一个例子 The sporting event was preceded by a performance from a local singer. 这场体育活动之前，有一位当地歌手带来演出。再来，我们看到动词 inspire， 指的是激励、鼓舞，也可以是唤起或是激起的意思。举例来说 My brother's success inspired me to start my own business. 我哥哥的成功激励了我自己创业。又或者说 My mother inspired me to act. 我妈妈激励我去演戏。
Okay, now remember in our lesson last time, we mentioned the fact that she supports feminist causes, or she is a feminist. So Lipa has also used her platform to promote female empowerment in the music industry and beyond. So empowerment here just means giving people power that they should have. And a lot of women in the recording industry or in the music industry probably don't have the kind of power that, say, Katy Perry has or Taylor Swift or whatever. Lots of them are controlled by people in boardrooms.
There you go. She wants more women, the head of music companies, making the big decisions, not just being the pretty one singing the song, but being the producers, being the writers, being the people behind the industry as well. So that's all about empowerment, making people believe that they can do things that others like them haven't done before, right? You can be the first person like you in a powerful job, break the model, break the mold, set a new standard, and things like that. So she's spoken out about the challenges women face in the industry, noting that for a female artist, it takes a lot more to be taken seriously. I think for a female blank, it takes a lot more executive or scientist or doctor or something like that. It takes a lot more to be taken seriously. You have to sort of meet higher standards than men do because you're the first person who looks like you to do it. People have images of women as being not as tough or not as strong or more likely to quit or things like that. So it takes a lot of work, takes more hard work for a woman to reach a high level of success than it does a man. It takes more for a woman to be taken seriously, to be listened to with the same amount of respect that it would a man. And so she's spoken out about this. It's not something that she just feels in her heart. It's something she's posted about, written about, maybe given speeches about, and things like that, and actually worked to try to improve. During her acceptance speech, it says, at the 2018 Brit Awards, she took the occasion to honor the women who preceded her and inspired her to dream this big. This is an example where she's spoken out about the challenges women face and the empowerment she's gotten from other people who came before her. At this point in her career, she had won an award. The Brit Awards is the British version of the Emmy Awards, the big music awards that are given out every year. And in 2018, she won for Best Female Pop Performance or something like that. And you've seen these shows. When you win, you go up, you get your trophy, and then you're allowed to give a short speech. That's the acceptance speech. They are giving you a prize. If you want the prize, you take or accept that prize. And in that sort of ritual, in that little tradition of giving the prize over, you're allowed to make a speech. It's an acceptance speech because you're accepting or taking or receiving an award that has been given to you. So, a lot of people will thank their agent, their parents, their manager, their partner, their God, whoever it is. Without all of these people, I wouldn't have become the big success that I am, so thank you very much. So she used that occasion or that opportunity to honor the women who preceded her, to give a shout out, we might say in a more modern way, to her inspirations, her idols. The ones who preceded are the ones who came before. So she might have mentioned people in the music industry who kind of opened doors and got women into certain areas or to be taken seriously, and she has benefited from them. And in the same way, she hopes that younger generations will benefit from her success. But she gave respect and honored the people who came before her, the ones who preceded her, and the ones who inspired her, maybe ones who weren't quite as famous as she was, but the ones whose music made her dream big when she was young, the ones who made her think, if that person can do it, I can do it. If they can sing that kind of music, so can I. And if you're inspired by someone, they give you dreams, they give you hope, they make you think that they can do it, so can I.
Okay, that brings us to the end of the second part of our lesson for today. Here comes our third and final part.
And she hasn't stopped dreaming. Last year, Lipa launched her third album, headlined the Glastonbury Festival, and expanded her Service 95 newsletter. It may have been her biggest year yet, but with new plans already in the works, it looks like Dua Lipa is just getting started.
第三部分看到动词 expand， 它表示拓展、扩充或是扩大。可以说 The company is expanding into Europe。 那家公司要扩展进军欧洲。最后一个例子 The toy maker expanded its product line to include video games。 该玩具商扩大生产线，涵盖电玩游戏。
Okay, so here we're wrapping things up with our discussion today. It says, and she hasn't stopped dreaming. Okay, so she has become very successful. She could very easily rest on her laurels, not work anymore, just simply retire and have a bank account and live in the Philippines or something like that on a beach in Cebu or whatever. But she wants to keep on dreaming. She has new ideas for her career. And last year, Dua Lipa launched her third album, headlined the Glastonbury Festival, and expanded her Service 95 newsletter. So these are some accomplishments that she accomplished last year. She launched her third album. If you launch something, you start it. I guess we could also say she released her third album. It's a collection of songs together, and she released it probably in digital form, but nowadays it's probably on vinyl or CD as well.
That's right. You could also, in a more modern way, she dropped her third album. Her third album dropped. It was released. It was put out there for people to buy and listen to, and I'm sure they put out some of the songs as singles, so you were hearing a few of the songs from the album on the radio and stuff like that. So new music, in other words, was launched last year. She also headlined the very prestigious Glastonbury Festival, which happens over 3 days in the UK, kind of like late June, early July. Big festival, held almost every year. It's on a farm, so they actually take a few years off to give the grass chances to recover because it is a working dairy farm. But being a headliner, that means you're sort of top of the bill. You'll be playing late in the evening on either the Friday, the Saturday, or the Sunday night. And that is an honor reserved to the biggest and the best. U2, Coldplay, Radiohead, Beyonce, people like that will headline the Glastonbury Festival. So really, it kind of shows that you've reached the peak of popular music, at least at that time, if you're headlining that big festival. And she expanded her Service 95 newsletter. This might be something that's a little more well-known to the really big Dua Lipa fans. I assume this is an online newsletter you can subscribe to, and every week or month you get a sort of updated bit of news from Dua Lipa with all of her latest activities and latest accomplishments and releases and things like that. But it was expanded last year, this newsletter. A newsletter, as I said, is basically information in a fairly brief form from a certain organization or person. A company might release a newsletter every week or month saying, you know, these are the things we're working on, these are the things we've accomplished, these are our new products or something like that. So it's basically information for people who are interested in a certain organization or person or business or whatever. And apparently she had this newsletter, but it might have been a rather simple type of publication, but it's been expanded, it's been enlarged, they've added things to it, there's more to it, they might have more contests, pictures of her and things like that. So if you're a fan, there's more stuff out there, this fan service type of thing that performers or groups will do, movie companies will do, to really get their loyal followers continually engaged is something that we see more and more of. And of course, with social media, it's very easy to expand this and to give fans more to enjoy.
Indeed, and I suspect newsletters nowadays are all digital. You would probably have to look pretty far and wide to find a printed version. They used to be printed, but nowadays, of course, everything's digital. And it may have been her biggest year yet, but with new plans already in the works, it looks like Dua Lipa is just getting started. So yes, it does seem that she has accomplished quite a bit this year so far, but she's already got some new plans in the works. If something's in the works, they are planned, they are being organized, and they will come to fruition later. They will come to reality later. They will be implemented later on. And it seems like she's just getting started, even though she's been around for quite some time, but she's still a big star, and she does have staying power. We certainly are going to hear more from her in the future. We all look forward to it. Okay, that brings us to the end of our discussion for today. Here comes Hanny, our beloved Chinese teacher.
各位同学大家好，我是 Hanny。 我们来看今天的文法重点。课文第二部分提到，在2018年全英音乐奖的得奖感言中， Dua Lipa 借此机会向那些在她之前奋斗并启发她敢于怀抱如此伟大梦想的女性致敬。文中是用 The women who preceded her and inspired her 来表达那些在她之前奋斗并启发她的女性。那这边有两个单字 precede 和 inspire， 那我们来分别学他们的字首字根。首先介绍 CEED 括 CESS 或是 CEDE 这一类字根有 go 的意思，也就是前进、行走。它其实还有退让、投降或放弃的意思。在 precede 这个字当中，字首 PRE 表示事先，在点点点之前，那么字根 CEDE 表示行进，把两部分组合在一起，字面意思是走在点点点之前。那么 precede 这个动词就是表达说时间顺序等等是处在点点点之前，或是先于什么什么的。如果我们在 precede 后面加上名词字尾 ENT 变成 precedent， 它可以表达先例、前例。然后如果我们在 precedent 前面加上否定字首 UN， 在字尾加上 ED 变成 unprecedented， 这则是描述前所未见的、空前的、史无前例的。好，那我们顺便补充两个有这一类字根的单字。第一个 necessary， 它的字首 NE 表示否定，字根 CESS 表示放弃， ARY 是形容词字尾，那不得放弃的东西就表示它是必要的、必须的。好，第二个补充的是 exceed， 它的字首 EX 表示由内向外， CEED 表示行进。那同学们可以试着联想，由内而外走出去，向外发展，那就会胜过留在原地的人，超越那些人。所以 exceed 它有超过、胜过或是凌驾的意思。接着我们来看看 SPIR 这个字根，它表示呼吸。带有这个字根的 spirit 在拉丁文里面就是指灵魂、勇气、活力或是气息等等。好，那我们看到在 inspire 这个字当中，字首 IN 它表示向内、往内，那么 spire 这部分表示呼吸。在某人的心里面把它注入活力、勇气，也许就可以联想到 inspire 它有激发、鼓舞或者是赋予灵感的意思。那我们也补充两个有相同字根的单字。第一个 respire， 它的字首 RE 表示 again 再次， spire 表示呼吸，那合在一起 respire 就表示呼吸。它的形容词 respiratory 就可以描述跟呼吸道相关的，所以我们看到 respiratory infection 就可以表达呼吸道感染。第二个补充 conspire， 它的字首 CON 表示一起， spire 表示呼吸。那从字首字根表面意思来看是一起呼吸，我们其实可以用中文这种沆瀣一气啊，两人臭味相投，或者是同一个鼻孔出气，去联想说 conspire 它有同谋、密谋的意思。好，那以上是今天重点整理，我们回顾今天的单字吧。
Strive. We should always strive to treat others with kindness.Authentic. Mr. Chan says he's trying to live an authentic life that's true to his values. Thoughtful. A thoughtful person always pays attention to how others feel. Acceptance. The director's acceptance of the award was met with loud cheers from the audience. Inspire. Great teachers are often able to inspire a love of learning in their students. Launch.After several delays, the company will launch its new smartphone next month. Expand. My favorite restaurant recently expanded its menu to include more healthy options.
Discussion Starter starts now!
It's time now, everybody, for our discussion starter. And the question is, what did you find most inspiring about Dua Lipa's story and why?
I think it was interesting and inspiring, so I would say I was inspired to read that for her Brit Award acceptance speech, she already had thought of the people to honor, because winning those awards can be exciting. Often it's a bit of a surprise. You often see those stars up there feeling quite flustered, like, oh, I'm so surprised, and oh, it's so honored. But she actually had thought about this and thought about, what will I say when I win? I want to say these nice things about all these other people who inspired me. So I think that shows a certain thoughtfulness that you might not always get from other celebrities.
For me, the most inspiring part of her story was the fact that she's from Kosovo. Usually popular stars are from more powerful countries like the UK or the USA or places like that. But hey, she's from little old Kosovo, which was experiencing a war at the time. So I think it's very inspiring for people all over the world that she actually became successful later on and that she has such a huge fan base these days. Well, that brings us to the end of another edition of our program, and please make sure you join us again next time. From all of us here, I am Roger.
I am Mike.
See you next time.